Here is the absolute fastest way to get Apocalypse Camo in Warzone Season 1 onwards. With this method, you'll easily be able to unlock Apocalypse Camo on all weapons in about 1 day, maybe 2. So if you want to know how to get it quickly, then be sure to stay tuned. Before we continue, if you're looking to unlock any of the new Black Ops 7 Mastery Camos, then be sure to check out Mitch Cactus. They're one of the biggest and most reliable names in Call of Duty. Everything's 100% safe and legitimate. They've got over 20,000 verified reviews. Use code RAGER to save 5%. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. So in this video, I'm going to explain how to get the Mastery Camos in Warzone, which are the Golden Damascus, Starglass, Absolute Zero, and then if you complete all of them, you'll get the Ultimate Apocalypse Camo. I'm going to give you guys a very quick class setup and a couple of tips, and then we'll talk about how to get all the military camos, the special camos, and finally the Mastery Camos. I'll have timestamps in the description if you want to jump to a specific part. Alright, so first things first, for the class setup then, I would recommend putting on perks such as Scavenger so you can get extra ammo, equipment and plates and cash, Alertness in perk 2 so you can sense enemies within 30 meters of you and also sense when you're being aimed at, and I'd also put on Tracker so that when you shoot an enemy it will outline them in red, it's easy to see where they are even behind cover, and you can track their footprints. Then I would put on something like a stim or a concussion or smoke grenade for the tactical. For the actual loadout, I was using an assault rifle, so I put on attachments including the magnified Prismatech Turbo 4X, put on any magnified optic you like. We've also got the monolithic suppressor to improve your bullet velocity and damage range, the 16-inch reticulated barrel for recoil control, the extended magazine, and the buffer spring fire mod again for recoil control. For this camo grind, you ideally want to work on as many weapons as possible at any one time just to be more efficient. So when you spawn in, if you don't get the weapon you want straight away, just pick up another weapon, start working towards the camos on that one, and that way overall you'll start getting kills for other weapons. It just makes it a bit easier for the camo grind. Also just note that the pre-game lobby kills don't count towards camos in any capacity, so it may sound tricky, however there is a really great method to get these camos done super fast. And you guys may or may not be familiar with this from last year, but Resurgence Casual is back. At the moment it's on Haven's Hollow, it may later be on Rebirth. Essentially this is a playlist where you can play with both bots and human enemies, but the great thing is all of these kills count towards camos. Even kills against bots will count towards your camo progress, so it's super easy to do. So at the moment that's the best way. Head into Resurgence Casual, you're going to get tons of kills in there because it's super easy. Later on there may be other good game modes, so if Plunder's out that might be better because you have your loadout all the time with you and you can drop straight in with it. So we'll start out with the military camos and then we'll talk about the special and mastery camos. If you're wanting to get these military camos, the last camo in the set is the Sapphire Snake camo, and for all weapons this time we need to get 100 eliminations with the weapon. Now that can sound like a lot, especially in Warzone, but actually it's pretty easy. All you want to do is spawn in, like I say, to Resurgence Casual, which at the moment is Haven's Hollow, and you want to aim for a slightly quieter area of the map, sort of away from the flight path, away from where lots of enemies are dropping. Ideally you want squad fill on as well, just so you've got some more teammates. When you get to that area you want to try and pick up a contract. A scavenger's probably pretty good because it will allow you to do some looting while you do the contract, and I'll explain in a second why that's important. Now the reason we want contracts is because we need to get some money for a loadout drop, because in Resurgence Casual you won't have your weapon you want until you get your loadout. So start doing this scavenger contract opening loot boxes. You'll need to open 3. The good thing is along the way if you see any other loot boxes, definitely open them because that's going to give you extra cash, extra armor plates, and if you're lucky you might be able to find your weapon that you need to get the camo for, and if you pick that up you can start going for camos on it early, which is even better. Also things like an armor satchel will be quite helpful, so try and find all those things in loot boxes. Once you have 10,000 points you'll be able to go to the buy station and purchase a loadout drop. Alternatively, a few minutes into the game there will be one spawning in and you can go to that one if it's not too busy. Okay, so once you've got your weapon either out of a loot box or from your loadout drop, you can then start getting kills in it properly and it'll be a better class than whatever you pick up off the floor. And if you die you'll obviously lose your weapon, but you can either head straight back to where you dropped your weapon and pick it back up again if it's not too busy and there's not enemies there. If there is, then just head to another loadout drop on the map and get your loadout back from there. Once you've got your gun you want to try and head to busier areas of the map, so especially good is places like Main Street, which is like the Liberty Falls area that was on Zombies. That area of the map, that's pretty good. There'll be lots of enemies there, but if you want to find more enemies, a great thing, get a bit of cash. For $6,000 you can go to a buy station and purchase a UAV, and then that will show up on the map where all the enemies are. You can obviously just go after them and get your kills. Look and listen out for footsteps and listen out for cues in the environment, so things like if you can hear someone opening a loot crate and you know your teammate's not nearby. The other important thing, which happens quite a lot, is listen out for this specific noise. I'll show you what it sounds like. Similarly, if the voice announcer mentions that there's an enemy spawning in nearby, look up in the sky as they might be landing near you. This is good because it may be a free easy kill. Like I said, around half of the players in this lobby are going to be bots, so it's incredibly easy to get the kills, and this all counts towards your camo progress, so it's going to be super simple. Within a few games you can get all of your kills for your weapon. Just try and survive as long as you can in that match. So now with the military camos out the way, we move on to the special camos. Now for these, each weapon is going to have a different combination of 3 camo challenges that come from a bigger pool, so it's going to be a different set for every weapon. So these will commonly involve things like getting kills while moving, or aiming down sight, or sliding, or without taking damage. Again, these are all things you can do using the method we mentioned for getting the military camos. But I'm going to give you guys 3 quick examples from my weapon, what the challenges involved and how I worked about getting them quickly. So the first one was to get 5 headshots with the weapon. Now this can sound a bit more tricky, especially in Warzone, but it's actually not too difficult at all. So just to clarify, a headshot in Warzone, what that means is basically the last bullet to hit the enemy and down them into last stand, that bullet has to hit them in the head. And then once that enemy is in last stand, you can then kill them however you like. You can melee them, you can shoot them anywhere else on the body, it doesn't matter. And as long as you shot them in the head to down them into last stand, once they die, you will still get a headshot, even if you don't shoot them in the head when they're in last stand. So that's just an important thing to note. So again, I would get your loadout from a drop or find it in a loot box, head into Resurgence Casuals on Haven's Hollow, head to a busy area like Main Street, call in a UAV to find more players, and go up to them, shoot them in the head to get them to last stand, and then kill them however you like. Do that 5 times and it's super simple to get a headshot. Next up, my challenge was to get 5 eliminations while using a suppressor with the weapon. So obviously just be mindful of this and put a suppressor onto your gun before you go into a game, and just use the same method we mentioned before to get the kills. It's super simple, so kind of just forget about this one and move on to the next challenge. The third and final special camo challenge for my weapon was to get 5 eliminations shortly after sprinting. Now I noticed that I got this really quickly without even meaning to get it, so it seems quite simple. It will likely just come naturally, but essentially just make sure you're running shortly before you come up to an enemy and then shoot them. Not 100% clear if you have to be running at them before they go into a last stand or whether you can do it while they're in last stand, I'm not sure, but either way, just you'll probably quite often find you are running up to enemies shortly before shooting them, and there's a fair bit of leeway, so it's relatively easy to do. Once you've done that, you've moved on to the mastery camos, which are the final 4 camo challenges for the weapon. The first one is Golden Damascus, and for this we need to get 3 kills in a single match 5 times with the weapon. So once again, this is kind of the same method as before, just go into Resurgence Casuals and get your human and bot kills in the same way. I just want to note that you can get more than one set of 3 kills in a match, so it's not like you just get 3 kills and then leave the match and go into another match, get another 3 kills and leave again. You can get as many sets of 3 kills in a game as you like. Also, it doesn't need to be a 3 kill streak, you can just get multiples of 3 kills in a match. This is a relatively easy one, it's basically just get kills in a match again, and you guys should have no problem doing this at all, especially in Resurgence Casuals. After this, we move on to the Starglass Camo, and for this, the first thing you need to do is unlock the Golden Damascus Camo, the one we just got, on all guns in your category. So for example, for assault rifles, you have to get it on all 6 assault rifles. Once you've done that, the challenge for this camo will say you need to get 5 kills without dying 5 times with the weapon. So essentially, get 5 bloodthirsty medals with the weapon. For this, you do have to get 5 kills in a row, obviously, without dying. Now, once again, it is incredibly easy to do this in Resurgence Casuals to get a kill streak. Just make sure you watch out for players parachuting in to spawn near you, because that can happen quite a lot, and if you're not noticing it or you're not listening out for that cue, then they might drop near you and shoot you in the back and you'll be down, which is really frustrating. So listen out for those cues of players parachuting in, look for the smoke trail in the sky if there's anyone near you, and aside from that, just go and get your kills. Head to busy areas. If there's loads of players there, then try and ease off a little bit, and again, use your minimap, your UAVs to find the enemies. The alertness perk that I recommend you guys put on is really good, because it senses when enemies are nearby to you. Within 30 meters, it will give you a prompt to say there's an enemy nearby, but also it will tell you when someone's looking at you, so you're less likely to be shot in the back without realizing. If you've got a good squad, try and stick with them, as you're more likely to live, but if you find that they're not very good, then obviously just go off and do your own thing. I would say it's better to be in areas that are a medium amount of busyness, so not super busy that you're likely to get overwhelmed and die, but not so quiet that you're not going to get enough kills. So go somewhere sort of not in the middle of the map, not at the edges, somewhere in that in-between region is probably best. But go and get your 5 kills in a life, do that 5 times and you'll get that camo. The next one is Absolute Zero, and for this you need to unlock Starglass Camo on 30 weapons, the camo we just talked about, and then once you've done that, the challenge says you need to get 10 eliminations while in the top 10. So this is actually not too difficult at all. This essentially just means get 10 kills while you're in one of the top 10 squads. Now again, this is really easy to do on Resurgence Casuals because you only start with about 15 squads, sometimes less. So by the time that you've probably played the match for, I don't know, 10 minutes, you'll probably probably have dropped to at or below 10 squads, and therefore any kills you get from that point onwards will count towards this camo challenge. The other great thing is you can respawn in, and again, it doesn't have to be a 10 kill streak. You can just get 10 kills however you like with the weapon. You can die as many times as you like in between, build up some cash, get your loadout from a loadout drop, and then by that time some enemies will be knocked out. Just go and get some kills, do whatever, and then once you're in the top 10 you can really start going for these kills, and 10 should be fairly easy on Resurgence casuals. And then once you've unlocked absolute zero camo on 30 weapons, you'll unlock the ultimate mastery camo, the Apocalypse camo. Definitely worth going for this camo, and I'm definitely going to be going for this myself. So that is the fastest way to get the mastery camos in Warzone. I hope you guys found this useful. If you did, be sure to drop a like on the video, it really helps me out, and feel free to check out any of my other guides. I've got guides for season 1 like how to level up fast, including the battle pass and weapons. I've got other camo guides for how to get the mastery Genesis camo in endgame, the singularity in multiplayer, and the infestation camo in zombies, so feel free to check them out if you need any other camos. If you like this kind of videos, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with my latest ones. These kind of methods and things are changing all the time, so it's worth keeping up to date with that. But thanks for watching, hope you found it useful, good luck with the camo grind, and I'll see you all on the next one.